on a few issues, pertinent issues. But as the MP for Roseau, I would like to just touch on some issues. First of all, we as the United Press Party, and also me as the MP for Roseau, we regret what has happened or transpired after the public meeting. We think that we had a great public meeting, and again, we'd like to reiterate that we thank the police for how we conducted and controlled the public meeting. We understood that some members of the public, pedestrians, passerbys, were affected by tear gas. We sympathize with it. We also would like to publicly place on the record that we sympathize with the business class and the business people who were affected either through damages to inventory and or the closing down of their business for maybe 1 or 2 days. I myself, as the MP for Roseau, have met with most of them already and extend our sympathies and how we feel about the matter. We'd also like to point out to Dominica and the rest of the world that the United Workers' Party in no way supports any violence against people, against property, against businesses. That's not what we are about. We are about proper, lawful behavior. We are about the upliftment of our citizens here and abroad. However, the United Workers' Party is not a sports club. We are a political organization, and we seek for the betterment of Dominicans. In that quest, sometimes things might not go perfect, but we don't agree with people who should know better, especially people that the President of Dominica have appointed as ministers of government to go on the radio, on public record, to be coming to conclusions as to who paid for certain things and who did what, without a special or a police inquiry on the matter. We're asking them to refrain from doing such. It is mischievous, and it is not in keeping with peace and harmony of this beautiful island. Now, in regards to one of the key issues that our leader will talk about more, but I wanted to point out that we remain resolute on the issue of the policy, the action or inaction of the Dominican Labour Party administration in regards to our diplomatic passport, diplomatic immunity, or diplomatic privileges. We also stand resolute to tell the Dominican public and the rest of the world that again, on this occasion, in this press conference on this day, we would like to make it clear as a policy statement for Dominica, the region, and the rest of the world. The United Workers' Party is not against the economic citizenship program in principle and concept. We are merely saying that we do not like how the current administration is running the economic citizenship program. We also are against and have articulated many views in regards to the approach in terms of the policy. We have on many occasions pointed out in Parliament, out of Parliament, that the program being run under the Labour Party administration is not transparent. So, as the MP for Roseau, I wanted to lay that foundation because our leader have more to say. But before I end, I would like the entire Dominican public to understand that we are about peace and unity. Peace and unity, and we remain resolute in that anything that we do for Dominica should always be peaceful. And we again end by saying that every Dominican, search your conscience, forget your political views or your political leanings. For example, in the incident that happened yesterday, it affected people we think supports the United Workers' Party in terms of business. It also have affected people that people may think support the Labour Party. But this is not politics. There's an underlying problem there. And that is a problem of a social challenge for us with our young people. And I think in another forum, we'll discuss the social challenges. But I think the government, since they are still the government as of today, should consider that the social challenges that we have with our youth, we have not done a good job in it. I'd now like to end by calling on all Dominicans, especially our religious leaders, spiritual leaders, to pray for Dominica. We have not done a good job, but not focus on blame. We are not going to blame anybody today. We are just going to focus on all Dominicans. I'd like to especially our religious leaders, spiritual leaders, to pray for Dominica. We are not going to but not focus on blame. We are not going to blame anybody today. We are just going to focus on all Dominicans. I'd like to especially our religious leaders, spiritual leaders, to pray for Dominica. We are not going to
members of the media, people of Dominica and home and abroad. The United Workers' Party wishes to thank the thousands of Dominican nationals who turned out for the February 7, 2017 meeting in Roseau to demand the resignation of Roosevelt Skerritt as Prime Minister of Dominica. The peaceful, non-violent Assembly of Patriots was conducted according to the laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica and concluded without any adverse incidents whatsoever. The United Workers' Party condemns the acts of violence and vandalism that erupted in the streets of Roseau during the evening of February 7, 2017. Causing widespread loss and damages to business enterprises and triggering fears for safety and security in a season of heightened tensions in our practice of civility. We empathize with the residents of the city, the passers-by, the people who are going about their normal business, and especially the children in the area affected by the tear gas, the sound of gunfire, and the overall atmosphere of a city under attack. We empathize as well with the owners and employees of the affected business concerns, with the hope and prayer of a return to normalcy as soon as possible. As the events unfolded, the leadership of the United Workers' Party was being blamed on the grounds that the disorder resulted from the public meeting in Upper Kennedy Avenue earlier today, calling for the resignation of Roosevelt Skerritt as Prime Minister. We say to you today, both events are unrelated. And we condemn these baseless criticisms as forcefully as we condemn the lawlessness visited on the capital city on Tuesday night. For the avoidance of doubt, the public meeting ended hours before the violence and vandalism. Mr. Skerritt claims that the evening riot was, quote, organized clearly by the leadership of the United Workers' Party and their associates, end of quote. Not only is this absolutely untrue, but Mr. Skerritt knows it is absolutely untrue. Mr. Skerritt also claims there are, quote, criminals who are saying they got paid for carrying out some of the actions, end of quote. He knows criminals got paid, but he pretends not to know who paid them. The nation will recall that Mr. Skerritt knew, according to him, who set the fire terminal of the Melbourne Hall Airport Tower in 2014. But to this day, the police are unable to bring the culprit to justice. The nation will also recall that Mr. Skerritt claimed he was aware of racketeering, organized crime taking place in the Division of Labor. But instead of calling in the police, he asked the Labor Division to fix it. And so the record is clear on the lies and the deception Mr. Skerritt has repeatedly engaged in matters of crime that he's aware of, which remain unsolved indefinitely. He's doing it again. Those who saw and used the meeting as cover to engineer disorder and disruption, to embarrass the United Workers' Party, just as Mr. Skerritt and company have been doing over the past 24 hours, know themselves and owe it to the deeply concerned nation to speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because that is precisely what will set us free. Hypocrisy will not cut it. False accusations will not cut it. Dishonest criticisms will not cut it. And the attempt to use this unfortunate turn of events to delegitimize the public call for the resignation of Roosevelt Skerritt as Prime Minister will not cut it either. The people of Dominica are demanding the immediate resignation of Roosevelt Skerritt as Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica for some very important reasons. Number one, Dominica has been plunged into a severe crisis of confidence by the actions and associations of Roosevelt Skerritt with international racketeers, money launderers, and fugitives from justice who pose continuing threats to global peace and security. Number two, since 2004, Mr. Skerritt has presided over a corrupt economic citizenship program that has compromised the global security architecture against money laundering and the financing of terrorism. The clear evidence of that before us today, which Mr. Skerritt has not addressed, is that an international bank with a branch in Dominica has shut down the government's account into which it was bringing passport monies. That could only be because the international banking community has concerns that the government is handling the proceeds of crime. The government is dealing with funds that could be tied up in the financing of terrorism. That is not a good designation or classification for government to have. The evidence is right before us. It has not been addressed, but Mr. Skerritt continues to curse people when legitimate questions are raised about the quality of his stewardship. Number three, Mr. Skerritt has persisted with the practice of selling diplomatic passports and diplomatic immunity under the table to a band of international rogues and vagabonds, many of whom have been arrested for international crimes while holding Dominica's diplomatic passports. The list is endless. It includes N.G. Lapsang. It includes Francesco Corralo. It includes Gizani Allison McBleaky. It includes Eric Turner, and it includes, more recently, Ali Reza Monfared, the Iranian national based in Malaysia, who was being hid here by the Roosevelt Skerritt administration, while Iran wanted him, and Interpol mounted a massive manhunt for his capture in connection with what is described as the biggest embezzlement scandal in the history of Iran. These are Mr. Skerritt's friends. Number four, Dominica is heading for a major economic collapse and record levels of poverty and dependency because of Mr. Skerritt's appalling failure to get the fundamentals of economic growth right and his refusal to steer the country away from wholesale reliance on uncertain economic citizenship revenues. Consequently, farmers are suffering, fishermen are suffering, builders, carpenters, masons, plumbers, and other tradesmen and women are suffering. Small business people are suffering. Teachers, nurses, police officers, and other public servants are suffering. Young people are suffering. The elderly people are suffering. The country is catching hell, while Mr. Skerritt and his chosen few are doing well. And so, the people of Dominica assembled in Roseau, the capital city, on Tuesday the 7th, said with a very loud voice, Mr. Skerritt must resign, and he must resign now. We urge the citizens of Dominica to be calm. We urge the police to be professional in ensuring justice is done in the matter before us. We urge the government to stop interfering in professional police work and allow those who have been trained in the field to do their work on behalf of the state that they're sworn to serve without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. And we urge the leadership of the political parties in this country, the leadership of civil society and law enforcement to meet in an emergency session to agree on a national plan for the restoration and the maintenance of peace and order in the Commonwealth of Dominica. We'll take your questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Senator, of course, you suggested that the Prime Minister in an address this morning spoke about people getting paid for the kind of violent acts that we saw on the streets of Roseau last night. Can you expound on this a little bit in terms of what are you getting from this? And is anybody within your party responsible for something?
So we have said categorically, nobody in our party is associated in any way, shape, or form. And we're talking that Mrs. Skerritt says the leadership of the party, Mrs. Skerritt said associates of the leadership. So the leadership would know who those associates are. The leadership knows who its associates are. And the leadership knows absolutely nothing about any payment to anybody for what happened last night. Nor does the leadership know of any associate of the party who have been involved in any behavior of that nature. This is a story concocted by Mrs. Skerritt. But I want to remind the media that long before this meeting happened, the word went out that we were having a meeting. And the word also went out that the labor rights of Dominica were being asked to put on their red and come into the city. Not that they couldn't have their red day on another day, but the followers of Montfared wanted to be in their red on Tuesday the 7th. The followers and the supporters of Montfared in red. They wanted to be in the city on Tuesday the same day. And we saw red shirts in the city yesterday. The whole purpose of that was to disrupt the meeting. When you of that nature, confusion is going to ensue. Negatively impact the meeting and so